Symantec is like this huge company. Of course, we should take care of the Macs. Like I love the Mac. I've been using a Mac since 1985. I wouldn't do this job unless I thought I could contribute to really good internet security software and other types of software. Whatever we do, I'm going to take all of my experience being a Mac user and make sure I make a product that I would use. Right? But I think it's great that McAfee updated the product. It's been a while since they've done that. I think it shows that they're seeing more people use the Mac than ever. I can tell you that we're seeing an explosive growth in enterprise, government, educational, especially with these Intel processors. Best move Apple's ever made, I think, for these environments. And years ago, they've been great. They've been consistent. And I think it's great that they're here at the show. And it shows that people recognize that Mac users need to be protected. I'm not about doom and gloom. I'm not saying, it's like backup, You don't need to necessarily have backup. There are plenty of great products that help you do backup, but in the end, it's a personal decision that you make depending on how you work, where you work, what you do, what kind of information you've got. We used to have more products. We used to Norton Utilities, and then the company decided that we wanted to focus more on internet security stuff, and what happened was we saw such a growth in the enterprise market that we actually had to shifted our focus a bit, and we made a managed antivirus product that has a central administration console that runs macOS 10 server. It's super awesome, and then it works, and then you have these client machines. So we developed that and worked with other enterprise teams. So while we didn't release more consumer products, we ended up doing all this infrastructure from this enterprise point of view, and then we're able to inject that technology into consumer products. And you'll be seeing more products.
This year?
Yeah, this year. I can at least say that our intention is more product this year. So we're a small, dedicated team. We're all Macs. People bring in their Macs so we can fix it and upgrade them and stuff like that. But from a product point of view, we're able to integrate technologies from other groups, both consumer and enterprise.
So how big is the group?
We have about 20, 30 people worldwide. We have a core group. And then we have support and people in other regions, like in Japan and stuff, that help us localize and translate that type of thing.
What is Symantec doing in the Mac market?
Well, right now we have two consumer products right now. Norton Confidential for Mac, which is actually it's really talking about phishing protection and protecting yourself while you're online. We have the only phishing protection for Safari on the market. Like the Safari doesn't have its own phishing protection, so we are able to provide that, and for Firefox as well. We actually have an engine that scans the page on the fly. Now, and what it does is it compares to a locally stored whitelist that we know are okay. Then we have a known blacklist that we update every 2 hours, because phishing sites will often only be in existence for a couple of hours. And then, so we have those two signature lists, but we also have a very intelligent engine that will score it and say, okay, I'm seeing enough issues with this page, I'm going to recommend to you that you not use this page. So I think you're going to see more things like that, where there's an engine, a lightweight engine, that is analyzing on the fly, that's supported by signatures and supported by definitions. I think it's a really great product, especially since we're moving away from the operating system in our daily lives, really. We're spending more time than ever online, and we're more vulnerable than ever online. There's so many great sites, but it can be really easy to confuse, and it's really easy to get those phishing emails, and it's easy to get these long email addresses that look like a reputable site, but they're not. And these sites prey upon people's trust and also ignorance. They trust what the computer is telling them to do. Like my parents, they are not that comfortable with computers, and if they get a message from eBay that says do something, they're most likely going to do it because they don't want to break the computer, they want to do everything right. So Norton Confidential is really kind of that, and I think you're going to see us really thinking about that market more and more as people are using devices like the iPhone, and all different types of computers to access their data online. So I think that's really interesting in the market, and I think it's going to just grow as the internet becomes our shared operating system. And then the other one that we just introduced is Norton Antivirus 11, and that's like the legacy antivirus product, but it's really been completely redone. And I really like it.
On the 11th version.
Yeah, the 11th, the Norton Antivirus 11. I gotta say, it's weird to be excited about antivirus, but my whole thing is that if you want antivirus, if you need antivirus, we're going to make you the best product that can possibly be. And so what does that mean? So we made it faster. We improved the user experience. We improved pretty much any way that we talk to the user about notifications and alerts are much more subtle. They're much more effective. I think it looks a lot better within the Mac experience than any other version before. And the other thing that we do is that we're adding vulnerability protection. And like this past year, we've seen a lot more rise in vulnerabilities across the board, but there have been a lot within the browser, Safari browser, Firefox, QuickTime. They just patched 3 vulnerabilities. And what's so interesting about vulnerabilities is that now that everybody has firewalls and that type of thing, that's how people are getting malicious code into the computer, is by exploiting these vulnerabilities and injecting that code. So I think it's really important to be able to look at all the whole ecosystem on the Mac, look at all the different applications, and patch those vulnerabilities. I mean, Apple does a great job. They patch them usually every 30 days, every 45 days. They'll release a security update. And if you look at the security update, a lot of those are vulnerabilities that they're patching. What we're trying to do is provide protection right away. So a couple, last month, they had a vulnerability in QuickTime, and it took them about 3 weeks to do it, and we were able to do it the next day. But that's our thing. We're a security company. We better be able to do that, right? So
but when you say you're patching,
we release a signature for it. So anytime that you're on a website and they try to exploit that vulnerability, we'll block it. We'll tell you, hey, someone tried to do it, and that's what's sort of kind of interesting about the Mac. There's so many different applications that are written for many operating systems, like Firefox and that we're seeing more vulnerabilities on the platform than before. And so my whole thing is just to be able to silently and support the operating system, support what Apple's doing. They do a fantastic job of security. I just want to add that extra layer of protection, and without messing up the user's experience. And the whole thing with Norton Antivirus 11 is that all of our updates are all in the background. And you don't have to worry about keeping your product up to date. You can run live update annually and all that kind of stuff. But my whole idea was that people just want a security product that works. And so everything is very transparent and very behind the scenes. And I think that's the kind of elegance that I want to try to bring into the conversation, security software, where it really is install it once and then you don't have to worry about it. You just use your Mac for what you want to use it for.